got here with me Charlene Myambo, better known as Maya Banksy. Now, she's profoundly charismatic. I've been chatting to her just offset. Gifted 31-year-old comedian. Oh, we never say your name, your age. Her illustrious career in the comedy industry stems for well over a decade. During that period, she's excelled in stand-up comedy, public speaking, music performance, and a variety of acting roles. Charlene, Maya Banksy, welcome to Morning Rush.
Thank you, pleasure.
Now, you know, comedy, for me, is a really hard art form. Getting people to laugh is I find it extremely difficult, yeah, and also very nerve-wracking. And it doesn't also. Is it a genre that is popular stand-up? What is your impression of that comedy artist sector in Zimbabwe?
I feel like stand-up comedy has not yet been fully grasped. In terms of, I feel people are more astute with skits, where it's rehearsed and it's a methodical drama happening. But I feel like there's room to grow in the stand-up arena of Zim comedy.
But there are some venues that are hosting comedy shows, like Reps is one. I mean, tell us where you've actually done. You know, what have you been doing in the last sort of say in the short term, looking backwards?
All right. So in the short term, I've performed at Reps Theatre. I've performed at Jason Pepper Theatre. I've also performed at Shezandi. And, you know, there are many venues, to mention but a few, that we've been able to, you know, gain access to and really spread the word that, you know, stand-up comedy is here to stay in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, you're right, though. But if you fail, you fall flat, don't you? But if you're great, everyone laughs. It's brilliant.
Well, I believe every comedian has had that that point where, you know, chairs are thrown at you, literally.
Or you have a Hitler. Get off. Go on, you're rubbish. Yeah.
You need that to be humble.
Yeah. Now, most people know you from Rudo, right?
Yes.
From the your hit comedy, what was it called? Special Class.
True.
So what happened to that? Did it go off the air? I mean, you obviously enjoyed that. I mean, this is what really put you in terms of being out there in the spotlight, is it?
Yes. Special Class was there. It ran for a couple of seasons. But, you know, all good things must come to an end. It was a very good experience. And I really thank the opportunity that I had to... I was a crybaby all the time.
Yeah, your role.
Yes.
I must be frank. I'm probably the last person in the world to... I haven't watched it. So your role... your role was what? Like the spoil... What was...
I was literally the class crybaby. All I would do was cry. Cry and sleep in a comedic manner.
I wouldn't mind getting paid for crying and sleeping. But one thing as well, which is important for us to acknowledge, is Alliance Francaise. They put on a lot of this stuff as well, don't they? They also do support the arts as well.
They do really support the arts, and you know, be it poetry, be it comedy, they're really standing in the gap. So we really appreciate that.
So what's going forward? What are you seeing yourself doing in your comedy acting career going forward? Do you have any projects that you're working on or that we can anticipate to see soon?
So at the moment we do regular stand-up comedy shows at the venues I talked about, like Reps Theatre, Jason Pepo, Shezandi.
Oh, you do them regularly? When you say regularly, once a month or?
Once a month or even twice a month, just depending on the month.
Okay.
And we also looking at projects where, I can't disclose other things because you'll be yet to see them on national television.
And here I am hoping for a scoop. Imagine.
Talk to me afterwards.
Oh. She wants me to talk to her afterwards knowing I'm a journalist. Imagine this. Now, Maya Banksy, but it wasn't that originally, was it? Come on, there's a story here.
Well, there's a story, obviously. So Maya originates from... I'm not sure if I'm able to use my native language.
Of course you can.
Maya is derived from Maya and Kwansungen Snamari. Means I need to be always self-sustaining. And banks, balance in the blanks. Like, I need money, Maya Banks.
Yeah. Well, talking about banks, what you probably didn't know about Charlene is that she's actually a certified accountant, right? Is it the accountant?
I studied accounting, yes.
Yeah. So you have that finance, so you're a finance background.
Yes, I do have the finance background.
Is that so? What do you do full time? Like if you say I wake up in the morning, do you go to a job, or is your comedian full time? You're an artist full time.
Full time, I'm a clown because I love to make people laugh.
I like that. What are you? I'm a clown.
And also, you know, I am working as an administrator at a private school currently.
Oh, that's nice. Right.
But I hope to one day take my comedy career to the point where it's full time, because I love to bring joy to people's hearts through comedy and mental awareness as well.
Yeah, no, I want to talk. I want to get to that. But just before we get to that. Support, you know, I just find it sad to see such talented artists in this country, whether it be comedy or any other artist, who can't make ends meet because whether it's not about support, whether there isn't that market in Zimbabwe. I mean, what are your views about that?
I feel like as Zimbabweans, we've been conditioned when we grow up and we go and we find certain jobs or careers that, you know, don't do the arts because things are not really well economically. And I feel like if someone's destiny is in the arts, parents should really support their children so that, you know, the next big thing is out there. And, you know, I think basically support needs to come first from the families and then the crowd at large.
Now, this is also one aspect of your career or yourself, which is very important. You're an avid mental health awareness practitioner. You're out there. It's very important. And I understand that this stems from your own mental issues that you had. Maybe speak to us about that.
Yes, so I like to identify myself as someone who used to suffer from bipolar and clinical depression. Right now, I identify myself as someone who has healed through both biblical knowledge and practical ways. So mental illness can be very debilitating, but through the word, because I am a religious person, I believe in God, through the word and prayer and also practical means that, you know, I've been taking like therapy and also just self-awareness, what makes you tick, what the triggers and everything. I began to realize that when you mix the spirituality and the psychology of it all, you tend to get to a place where there's a balance, because it's all about mood ups and downs. So
what do you do on the ground? You go and give talks to schools? What do you physically do to make people aware of the mental illness challenges in the country and what to do about it?
So firstly, I use myself as an example. I am very open and very... When I go to my comedy shows, my jokes, I put in a bit of mental health there. And also, I have a group which I started, which is a wellness group on WhatsApp. And I talk about mental health. I use myself as an example. I'm vulnerable to the people. And I hope for a larger platform to be able to share how spirituality and believing in God and also practical ways of just coping has helped me through this mental journey.
I mean, we've done a lot of, I think it's one of the things that we like, we are behind Advocate as well, mental health. And the message that we give out all the time, and whether you agree with this, is talk. One, talk, communicate if you do have these issues, but also the family acceptance of it, rather than like, oh, it's some mushonga, or it's it's actually a real issue that we need to deal with. What is your views on that?
I feel like a lot of people are suffering in silence because they're afraid of what their family will say or how they will react. And at the moment, the suicide rates are hiking due to mental illness. And people need to be able to voice out what they're feeling, and I feel like let us just be a compassionate nation, open up to have people be able to open up to us and just have togetherness, umuntu, you know?
I was talking to someone in the ministry and they were saying that we can say, oh, mental health cases have gone up, but he was saying it's not that they've gone up, it's that now people are more aware of them. So they're being more reported rather than there's suddenly a huge influx. But I think COVID-19 didn't help. Being stuck at home for a year actually caused, I think that did create a lot of mental problems. So what would be your advice? Because, I mean, particularly because one thing that concerns me is the rise of mental health issues in youth. People, let's say under 16 for argument's sake. I mean, are you seeing that? What are you seeing?
So I think with the youth, it's more of there's a lot of idle time being spent, and then people are turning to drugs and alcohol and all sorts of addictions, and this in turn is a trigger for mental health. So you already have a predisposition to mental health, and then it doesn't help that you're turning to this. So I feel like activities need to be introduced within our schools and just having self-awareness. I struggle with this, let me get help. Don't be embarrassed, speak up. I would say that.
I don't think I can say anything more after that. Charlene Myambo, Maya Banksy.
Konapo. Ipapo pa ZTN Prime. DSTV channel 294. The place to be.